Thank you very much, everyone. Your Holiness Pope Tawadros II, Your Eminence Metropolitan Sarapion, Your Grace Bishop Yusuf, Your Graces the honored bishops, Your Reverences the honored priests, my brothers the deacons, distinguished guests, and every Christ-loving member of the Southern U.S. Coptic Orthodox Diocese. My name is Nader Anise, and I am deeply humbled to be standing here to speak about the journey of the Diaconate, or deaconship, in this diocese over the last 25 years. It is an honor of which I am truly not worthy. Before I talk about the deacons, Your Holiness, if I may say, our joy is indescribable that our beloved Pope and Patriarch, the Shepherd of Shepherds, the successor of St. Mark the Evangelist, is in our midst. We delight in Your Holiness's love, fatherhood, and affection for us all. As His Grace Bishop David recently said, and I quote, "God truly loves the Coptic Orthodox Church because He sends the right shepherd at the right time, Your Holiness Pope Tawadros." This is indeed a day for the history books, a day that will forever be etched in our hearts and our minds. We ask the Lord to keep you for us many years and peaceful times, and may He trample your enemies under your feet speedily. This joyous occasion, the Silver Jubilee of the first Coptic Orthodox Diocese in the U.S., is a source of pride for all Copts. Where would we be today without the tireless service and unceasing prayers of our beloved Bishop, His Grace Bishop Yusuf? I'm certain it's not just the deacons who ask this question, but also every congregant. Where would we be today without His Grace's leadership, or His vision, or His energy, or sacrifice, or patience, or wisdom, or forward thinking? St. Paul identifies the qualities of a bishop in his epistle to Titus, and it's as if he were giving a full description of our bishop. As deacons, we are especially edified by His Grace's mastery of hymnology and the church rites. We ask that the Lord keep you for us many years, through the prayers of our Holy Father, Pope Tawadros II. Now, if I were to discuss in details the progress of the diaconate in our diocese over the last quarter of a century, it's been a quarter century, half the amount of time that the church has been established here in America. I would need many hours, not minutes. Don't worry, I will not speak for many hours. But at the very least, I'd like to briefly present some of the major accomplishments that have transpired during this time. In 1993, at the inception of our diocese, deacon systems and processes had not yet been established. This was long before Coptic Reader made its first appearance, and also before we had the three-language liturgy book, El Khulegi, and the translated service books. Those came later. The most significant issue to tackle was the lack of a unified way of singing the St. Basil responses in English. Every church had basically created its own version of the hymns by matching the English words with the common tune as best they could. That's all they had. And we were lucky if at the time 20 or 30% of the liturgy was in English. Now, English is the language used in our worship the vast majority of the time. His Grace, being a true visionary, you keep hearing this word about His Grace, visionary, had a plan that was considered revolutionary at the time. I remember receiving a phone call from His Grace shortly after the diocese was established. Bishop Yusuf said he wanted the churches to sing the English responses in the same manner all over, so that we can pray as one church. To which I responded, Yani Sayyid. What does that mean, is the translation, Your Grace? As the concept of unified hymns was completely foreign to us in America. There was no such thing as the standard way of singing the English responses, whether in Florida or Texas or California or New Jersey or anywhere. Every church did its own thing, and it's a hard thing to imagine now, but that's how it was. At that point, His Grace asked me to record the English responses on a cassette tape. Shows you how long that was ago. And send it to him, which of course I did immediately. A committee was then formed to review the different hymn variations and come up with a final version that would be implemented in all the churches. As I soon learned, His Grace is blessed by God with an extraordinary vision that is both groundbreaking and far-reaching. Another thing that is undeniable is the encouragement His Grace gives the young chanters to learn the hymns and prepare for ordination. It's not unusual for His Grace to personally sit down with each nervous young candidate and test his knowledge, asking him to sing Amin, 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 Your Death, O Lord, or through the intercessions, or a number of other things. On one occasion, I received the blessing of being present during one of those quizzes and marveled at His Grace's gentleness and patience. To be honest with you, I was worried that He was going to test me next. As Bishop Yusuf always teaches us, and as he said in this year's Asaf Hymns Institute graduation, the love of hymns is something we must plant in our children from a young age. His Grace has established minimum standards and requirements for deacon ordination, which gives the ordained an appreciation and a respect for their rank at every level. More about this shortly. Regarding the Asaf Hymns Institute that I just mentioned, well, it was formed in our diocese to teach the hymns, rites, history, theology, language, and dogmatic practice of the Diaconate or deaconship of the Coptic Orthodox Church. It is a 4-year program that consists of 8 semesters. This year was a special one for the Institute as they celebrated their first graduating class on May 31st, 2018. The class consisted of, yes, they deserve a hand, absolutely, absolutely. The class consisted of males and females, young and a little less young, and even 2 of our fathers, the priests, were among the graduates. In addition to the program at the Asaf Institute, the diocese offers hymns education for our children and youth by organizing regular hymns camps and rigorous competitions. The diocese also produces high-quality CDs titled Salah, Coptic Hymns in English. It's a collection of some of the most beautiful hymns, praises, and chants of the Coptic Orthodox Church. By the way, it's CopticHymnsinEnglish.com if you're interested, but wait until after the event, you can order there. Perhaps the greatest inspiration for learning our church's rich hymns comes from His Holiness himself, Pope Tawadros II, when he said recently, and this is translated from the Arabic, His Holiness said the following: when we hear a hymn, even if parts of it are in Arabic, we get this feeling that it's from the depths of the church, because its roots, the very soil in which it grew, is a Coptic Orthodox heart. Those beautiful words of our Holy Father remind us of the treasure that is Coptic hymnology. Something else I'd like to mention is we thank God everything now is at our fingertips, literally. And the church readings, the liturgy, the service books, the Synaxarium, the Psalmody or Psalmodia, and many other texts. All these are accessible online and through the Coptic Reader app, which, incidentally, is a product of the Southern U.S. Diocese. Yeah, they deserve a hand. I think it's in the hands of every deacon, every priest. It's ubiquitous. We've certainly come a long way since 1993. In terms of the organizational aspects of the Diaconate, our Copts churches are increasingly implementing the dual choir system, where on one side stand the older deacons, and on the other side are the college, high school, and young deacons. At times, both choirs sing together, and at other times, they respond to one another. The singing format is not only pleasing to the ear and used in our Tasbih tradition, but it also keeps our youth deacons attentive, motivated, involved, and closely knit. Most importantly, it brings them closer to God and to the church. Another important deacon-related initiative that Bishop Yusuf has recently spearheaded is the faithful adherence of each deacon rank performing its traditional duties as established by the early church, by our church fathers. Following these canons will enhance the atmosphere of worshiping God in fear and trembling as we are commanded to do. God willing, the positive impacts will be felt not only by the deacons, but by every member of the congregation. In conclusion, as we look back on the last 25 years of the Diaconate here in the southern U.S., we thank the Lord for His abundant blessings. And we remember all the deacons we shared the service with, old and young, past and present. And may we be deacons who are loving and forgiving and full of the Holy Spirit, just like St. Stephen, the Archdeacon, who said, "I see heaven open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God." It is impossible to sufficiently thank you, Your Holiness, for blessing us with your presence today. Please always remember the deacons of the Southern U.S. Diocese in your prayers, as we also ask the prayers of the honored bishops and priests who also blessed us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nader. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to ask to keep the silence of the ballroom. I also ask all guests to take their seat.